Hey everybody, Bob Paff here. It's about 5:45. Getting ready for the show. We go live at a few minutes after 6, so we've got an exciting show tonight. We've got Don Lawrence, who is making his way. Don, if you're out there and you're listening to this, making his way into the studio, and we're going to talk to Don about his exciting new book. There he is. Hey, Don. That means you're not here, Don. Hey, Mary Ellen. So Don's going to come in and talk about his book, and then we've got our good friend Carol Dye, who's joining us as well, who's come in all the way from Washington, D.C., where the traffic's terrible out there tonight. I don't know what's going on. Of course, we know, if you live in Baltimore, we know that Baltimore does not know how to maneuver and move traffic, and so it seemed particularly congested today. So anyway, thank you, Mary Ellen. So exciting show for you tonight. It's been a great month. You know, we had Dr. Dan on here. We talked about goals, and last week I was traveling, and so we reran the first show. But we'll talk about some new books. Maria, if you're out there, The Greek Way, I'm reading, and then I want to read some things. One of my favorite books, Them, Why We Hate Each Other. So stick around. We'll be coming to you live in probably about 15, 16 minutes or so. So anyway, you can, just to let you know, you can go to the website, wcbm.com, and you can tune in live. You can tune in live here. And if you tune in live on Facebook Live, you obviously can't hear the guest in the show. Hey, Tony. Love you guys. You can't hear that. Hey, Glenn Hyatt. But you can download the app on your Android or your iPhone at WCBM 680 AM. For those of you who are tuning in from the West Coast, obviously, it's almost 3 o'clock out there. We are coming to you live tonight. Here comes Don in the studio now. So we come to you live. And folks have been tuning in from all over the place. So they've been coming in from Ireland and Scotland. And we've got viewers from, hey, Elizabeth. Hey, Don. We've got, listeners coming to us from London, England, and just all over the place. So the audience is growing. I'm very supportive and very grateful for all of you who are supporting the show and sponsoring the show, THB and Cipriana, and we're talking to some new folks about coming on board with us and sponsoring the show. Somebody reached out to me today, and so I'm excited about that. Andrew, I want to talk to you. Andrew Altman, I want to talk to him about basement waterproofing, and maybe we'll get those folks on board. But excited about all the possibilities and really excited. Hey, Amy, down in Florida. Miss Florida. I was in Florida. For those of you who know, I was traveling last week. I was down visiting my ex-in-laws, who I'm very close to, and sending them love. I don't know if they're tuning in, but they just celebrated birthdays on January 4th and January 15th. So I was down there in Florida, and I miss Florida because it's cold and snowy up here. So anyway, and that's not my thing. So so hang in there. Tune in, share this if you will. We've got an exciting show for you tonight, and we'll be going live in just about 10 or so minutes. How are you, Elizabeth?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. And next week we've got your person.
Yep.
Right?
He's coming in. Already clarified.
You know, that kid never got back to us at all, right?
I know. I have never heard anything back from him.
That's really
I sent him like a
awful.
follow-up email.
Uh-huh.
I was
Like,
oh.
hey.
And we've been in contact.
And nothing?
Nothing.
Elizabeth, I'm Carol.
Hey, Don. You guys haven't met Elizabeth? You guys walked in together, so I thought maybe. So Elizabeth is my intern. I have two interns. Taylor's not going to be with us tonight. So Taylor's a sophomore at Gilman, and Elizabeth is a junior at Bryn Mawr. So,
Nice to meet you too.
Don, wherever you want, if you want to be there,
Wherever you'd like me.
next to Carol, I mean, it really doesn't matter because the mics will be live and you guys can sit. Tracy, how are you? How are things? It's wonderful to hear from all of you because I don't really get the opportunity to see you, many of you, as much as I would like, and to talk to you. And it's great when we do this and we do the show that you're tuning in. It's so easy. So if you're following us on the app or on Facebook Live, it's a really easy thing to do. So anyway. Traffic was terrible, right?
Actually, it wasn't bad for me.
He was in the parking lot.
I was sitting out in the parking lot.
Oh, you were sitting in the parking lot?
I
Really?
got here about
He was the
5:30.
other side.
I didn't realize. I thought you guys were pulling where I was. I was like on the other side.
Okay.
So-
Remember where Taylor parked?
Did you see the Paradise Nail Salon and all that?
I didn't even notice it.
You probably came in from a different way.
Yeah.
Because some people do come in from that back way.
And I thought I'd see your car from there, so I just skipped back.
That's where Taylor parked over there when we
Okay.
came. Oh, so long ago.
This is nice. Is that Tom Moore over there?
Yes, it is.
Awesome. He just passed away.
He did. Yeah, there are a lot of dead guys, I think, up on the walls. Yeah, I'm not anxious to join them anytime soon. You know.
I remember every time a new caller would ring the bell.
Oh, really?
Lester called. He was really cool.
Tracy, the topic today is Don's book. Don, let me have your book because people are asking me on Facebook Live what the topic is. So we were talking about, I love the title of this, Tragedy's Gift. And so it's really, I guess, Don, if I could sort of, paraphrase it, is really maybe turning some adversity into opportunity and looking for the blessings in things, pretty much it. So, Tracy, to answer your question, Tracy, are you up in New York? Are you in the city? Or are you down in North Carolina? But Fred, so again, topic is this book. Don Lawrence is here with me. Carol Dye's with me. So we're going to talk about, we've all got our experiences. You've got them out there. Give us a call, 410-922-6680, and you can share your stories. But we're going to talk about, love the title, we're going to talk about Don's book. So that's what we're talking about tonight. And of course, if you've got issues that you want to talk about, give us a call. We're going to talk about what's going on in the city, right, Elizabeth? We always talk about any highlights and things that are going on there. This mayor is trying to get a police commissioner in place, and now I think we're targeting this guy, Michael something or other. I don't remember Elizabeth his last name, but the guy who I think he's the current commissioner in New Orleans, because as we know, the guy Joel Fitzgerald from Fort Worth. I think he took himself out of consideration, right? He's the one that withdrew his application, if you will, for Michael Harrison is the new guy, the latest.
Where's he come from?
Didn't say New Orleans.
Oh, New Orleans.
Yeah.
Yeah, so New Orleans, right?
Yeah.
Elizabeth, what's his name again? Michael Harrison?
Michael Harrison.
Michael Harrison. How many murders are we up to? We always do that. We do the murder thing. Yeah, Don, we do.
Well, it's a new year.
It's
so.
the new year.
Well, DC has had.
Hey, Ginny, how are you?
Had tons of murder
Great to
going on.
see and hear from all of you guys. Give us a call. I'd love to chat with you guys. Ginny, you might relate to a lot of the
5 to
things.
12.
Don grew up in South Baltimore. And, my family's all from the Locust Point area, and so spent a lot of time down there. Of course, everything's Federal Hill now because the price of real estate goes up when you call it Federal Hill. And it's the same thing with Highlandtown, hon. It's not Hollandtown anymore, hon. Everything's Canton, right? And so it just makes it more expensive. So it'll be a Baltimore kind of a show tonight, which is great. Don, I can go. Carol's from my Baltimore accent, so we can fall into the Baltimore accent. We can talk like a couple Baltimorean. Carol, you got that New Jersey thing going on. You do.
I think I do. I can do it.
You do. Well, no, you do. I hear you some like when you say cash, you say cash.
I do not.
Yes, you do. Say.
Water.
No. Nebraska. How do you pronounce that state?
Nebraska.
You say Nebraska. It's Nebraska. So that's a Jersey thing. So we all got these things and we don't realize it. So anyway, let me hear ourselves back.
Water.
Water, the kitchen zinc.
I do not say zinc.
No, this is South Baltimore.
But what
stuff.
is water New Jersey? How do you say
Water?
No,
Water?
South Baltimore, they say water.
Water.
I say
Yeah, the water.
And right by the kitchen zinc.
The kitchen sink. Yeah, and the water. Turn the water off.
Change the oil.
Don't let the water run. Change the oil.
My mother says
Change the
market, not
oil.
grocery store.
Oh my goodness.
I'm going to the market.
27 currently.
We have 27 murders.
27.
27 murders, and today's the what? 18th?
It's the 18th. Yeah.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Check. Can you check DC?
I can check DC. Yeah.
But I want to have a race.
A race to see how many murders have been committed.
You and I can pay attention. Like
Thank you, Fred.
Just wait till you hear, because I think DC's probably going to be like. Elizabeth is like Wikipedia.
Don't say that
Elizabeth
yet.
is a machine
Are
over
you
there.
kidding with what I hear you say? You're like amazing.
She's a machine. Let me. So Don, your headset is here.
Okay.
To the left is a button for you to a wheel like for you to control the volume.
Okay.
So you'll be able to hear the show if you want. You don't have to do it that way, because when you do have it though, Anita will tell us you got a minute, you got two, whatever, and then I'll put up a 1, 2, 3. And don't worry, if you ramble on, I'll pull it back. Yeah, no, don't worry about it. Because when we got to get out, we got to get out. So if it's a hard out or whatever like that, yeah. That's my job, to keep things flowing. Thank you.
How many?
What's,
Oh, sorry. I thought
she's still looking. So many.
Rushing you. I thought you said 19.
2019.
Joe Pruka. Hey, man.
It is 12.
Joe, our guest tonight is Don Lawrence. And Don wrote this book, and I love the title. So everybody keeps asking me, every message that comes up, everybody's like, who's the guest and what's the title? So this is what we're going to talk about tonight. So anyway. All right. We can do that. It's getting close to showtime. All right, I got a couple things I want to say. So Don, what I do is I thank the sponsors. I talk about, we kind of do our Baltimore thing. We kind of wrap things up. I'll talk about, who our guests are, and then I'll bring in, and I may just throw it to you in chat before we really sort of open it up. I might ask for your opinion on something or whatever, so it just kind of flows. Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Well, the sad thing is you don't like to talk.
Yeah,
So Bob's going to
very
have to draw you
quiet.
out.
I'm going to have to.
He's gonna have to keep me. He's gonna keep my reins.
Elizabeth's the same way. She doesn't like to talk.
None of us do.
Yeah, one of the shows I had, it's just me, Elizabeth, and Taylor in here. Elizabeth, you weren't here, I think, when we had the commissioner and the secretary and the chancellor. It was just you and I with the two of them, right? On that show. That was a great show. And that was a good show for you to be part of, because you had some, and Secretary Gill is not the secretary anymore. He stepped down. He's not serving as the Secretary of Commerce in the second administration.
It was because he did so well in the show. He's gone on to
bigger and better things.
Really?
Shane, how are you out there in California? There's always something going on in California between the fires and the mudslides now and all the storms. I mean, it's just really awful for those people out there. Shane, are you okay? I know a lot of the storms, and are you good? So, Lisa Jones, thank you. Folks, give us a call, 410-922-6680 if you are in this area. If you are not, you can just stick an 800 in front of that. 1-800-922-6680, and you can give us a call. So I have more of a GQ face for TV. Thank you, Joe. Not a bad thing. Not a bad thing. Television really is my main thing, and we're working on getting back there, or at least maybe televising the radio show. But I do like television, so it's good stuff. All right. Justin, how are you, buddy, down there on the Eastern Shore tuning in? We're getting ready to go live.
Details next. It's 6 o'clock. Stay connected with.
Oh, you know what?
6:06.
Anita's not here. Is Anita here? Do you see her, Elizabeth?
I didn't see her.
I guess you're just going to talk for an hour.
There she is.
Our thing. Let's go.
Hey, everybody, this is Anita. Don, Carol's been with us before, and you know Elizabeth,
How are you?
right?
I'm back for more.
You back?
Couldn't get enough of you the first time,
Yeah, I
Anita.
think that's what.
Right?
Can you believe that it was October 5th? Was like a minute ago.
Yes, that's how
Right?
quick time is flying.
Crazy. It's crazy. All right, we're good. Thank you.
Okay.
So after we come back from this, well, Don, you want to shut that door so we don't get any traffic? What was that? I heard something. See that?
We should have kept the door open so we could hear what they said.
So Don, I'll throw things to you, like, since I haven't had a chance to review this, we kind of got this together pretty quickly. But you're a fly by the seat of your pants kind of guy, which is good. So we don't need a lot of prep to do this. But I'll ask you things like, what prompted you to write this? You know, and I think I read somewhere that it's been 3 years in the works in doing it. So we'll talk about things like that, and what do you hope to do with it, and what do you want? What's the next step for Don Lawrence? So we'll talk about things like that. All right. Nice looking glasses. Thank you, Shane. Everybody comments on my outfit and my glasses. And it's like,
Nobody has anything to look at but you.
What's that?
They have to check you out. They're looking.
Well,
at
this
it.
is true.
I only watch this on Facebook.
I was surprised when I looked on Facebook and you actually had it on video.
It's all him.
It's nice. It really is.
No, it's good. You feel like you're next to him.
Well, you know, Anderson Cooper's doing Facebook Live. I mean, he promotes on CNN. He's like, we'll be doing Facebook Live TV, he calls it. I don't know if there is such a thing as Facebook Live TV, but he called it that. So, GQ all the way.
Our church does live streaming.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, this is live stream, too. Yeah. Joe, you are too kind. GQ all the way. I got to get back in the gym and GQ myself up a little bit more, but thank you for that. Dr. Dan, are you with us out there? Listening from West Virginia. Hi, Don. Louise Jones Evans.
Oh, yeah, Tara said hi.
He says hi. Don says hi, Louise. Hey, folks, we did this a couple of weeks ago. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Shane, I know you're tuning in from California, and Louise is tuning in from West Virginia, and we've got Amy Croppers in Florida. So we've got people from all over the place, but let us know. Allison, thank you, Allison. I really appreciate that. Hey, Rose. We're getting ready, folks. We're about 2 minutes away from going live here.
I love Anita's older music. Shows jazz stuff.
It's always stuff from an assortment of things too. Like there'll be stuff that's like current and popular today, but then there'll also be
It's very
oldies
Bob
but
ass.
goodies.
She chooses it first.
He's doing that right there.
Oh, that was
Yeah.
right there? Cool. Nice.
Dennis, Virginia, Louise, Lisa Jones, Pasadena, Maryland.
Colder here than in DC.
Cold in here.
Colder in Baltimore than DC.
It was like 10 degrees on Monday.
8.
Good for that.
It's supposed to get down to 7 on this Tuesday. or something like that.
What's the difference between
Elizabeth, what day of the shutdown are we into?
Oh God, I saw them
28.
this morning. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it's
28th.
day.
28th day of the shutdown.
Day 28. Yep,
Okay.
that's what I thought.
only because I hear it 400 times.
Tracy Vogel Lane, love
Well, you
you.
live in DC.
You don't know, you hear
28,
stuff,
thanks, Shane.
It just spews
Yeah.
out like you go, how many months? 12. How many days? 28. Because they say it over. Is it?
I'm not told we don't like to repeat our murder rate.
We like to be quiet about our murder right here. We don't like to talk about our murder too much. Joe and Haverty Grace. Joe, it's not called Father Anthony. What's that rehab father? Joe, help me out here. Anthony, the father, right? You'll know. I'm trying. It's coming to me. Lisa Holt from New York. You've got New York just waited.
Joyce said have a good show. She's just heading home.
Give us a call, folks. 410-922-6680 or 1-800-922-6680. Here we go. We're getting ready to go. Coming at you. Here we go, guys.
Ready to go.
It's showtime.
Hey, there's a mob.
The bottom falls out of our tent. Father Martin's Ashley. Thank you, Joe. That's what it was. All right, here we go. 6:06. So Don, once that's on, you'll see the. Here we go. Here we go, folks. They should be. Hey folks, Bob Paff here. Thank you so much. I'm really honored and blessed that you join me every Friday night. It's Friday, January the 18th, and I cannot believe Carol and I, I was talking to my guest Carol Dye, and Don Lawrence is with me in the studio. We're going to talk about Don's book. For those you can't, you can see it on Facebook Live, but you certainly can't hear it, right? I tell people, people need to be able to hear your smile because they can't see it. So sometimes we forget. I'm a TV guy, and sometimes I forget we're doing this on the radio. So we've got Don's book here. But I can't believe that all of this started on October the 5th. And Carol, we were saying earlier that it's gone by so quick. I think that's a good thing. Elizabeth, right? Elizabeth has been with me almost since the beginning. Those of you who have been following the show, you know that I've got two wonderful interns. And if I don't tell them enough, Elizabeth, I think you and Taylor is not with us tonight, but you guys know how much I appreciate you and the hard work that you do. Elizabeth is a junior at the Bryn Mawr School, and Taylor is at Gilman School, where my son is a senior and will graduate and will go to college in Rhode Island next year. Or this year, 2019. So excited about that. All right, so what's going on? The first thing that we have to do, because I'm all about small business, and Don's a small business owner, and Carol's a small business owner, is thank our sponsors. Because Don, and we're going to touch on this in your book, where would we be without the village and the community and those around us, right? And it's all about that. And if for those who know me, and Don, you and Carol know me well, I've got a humble heart and a gracious heart, and I'm filled with gratitude for all that all of you do for me and the blessings that God has given me, which are not always so apparent, Don, in this world, right? It's hard when life's beating us up, and life will beat us up.
Yes, it will.
And it's hard sometimes to focus in on those things because, I've got 6 kids. I've been married twice. So I kind of look at 8 people sort of hovering around me that, have needs and things and whatever. And it's tough. And then we've got our own challenges and everything else to deal with. So we're going to pull Don in. We're going to talk about that. But we always do this. We talk about, Elizabeth prepared some good stuff for me, what's going on in Baltimore. And folks, I hate to tell you, we've got 27 murders so far in the city of Baltimore, and it's only January the 18th. So we've got more murders than days of the new year, right, Elizabeth?
Exactly.
Than 2019.
Shootings.
Shootings.
A couple stabbings, but most of them were shootings.
Aye. And so, folks, you know that Joel Fitzpatrick of Fort Worth has taken his name out of consideration to be Baltimore's new police commissioner. We can speculate why. I think the guy had some baggage, quite frankly, and I think he was kind of running out of Fort or being chased or with a broom or something like that out of Fort Worth. But it's a tough job. Who wants to be the police commissioner? We had Kevin Davison here, and I wish this mayor well. I'm not a big fan because I do think she's a deer in the headlights. And I think she needs to get out from behind the cocktail table at the Four Seasons or the Ivory Tower City Hall, and she needs to get out and walk around and figure out what in the world is going on in this city and how do we turn it around. So again, we're at 27 murders in the city of Baltimore. The crime, I talk about a city every city needs to be safe and it needs to be clean. I think as citizens, we're entitled to, I don't care if you're going out at 3 o'clock in the morning. You should be able to go out and not worry about being shot or being stabbed or giving some homeless person $10 out of your car and somebody reaches in behind and stabs you. It's absolutely unacceptable. I'm not even going to talk about the traffic because Baltimore can't move traffic. And I picked Carol up at the train station. I was trying to navigate my way through. And I'm a Baltimorean, for those of you who don't know that. And Jenny Cusick, you know that. I grew up down there in East Baltimore and went to St. Wenceslaus and went to Lake Clifton High School. Don and I talked about that. We're Baltimore boys, Don, right, hon?
Absolutely.
And so it used to be South Baltimore. Of course, everything is Federal Hill, and we talked about that as well. But we've got our work cut out for us, folks, in 2019. I'm going to be meeting with somebody from the city council. We've got 3 minutes left, and then we'll come back. We're going to jump right into Don. But one of the things that I also do is I share what I'm reading, and it's perfect, Don, because I love to support authors, I love to support entrepreneurs, and I love to share great books. And I can't wait to dive into yours because I love that title so much. I picked this one up. I've finished 3 books this week. 3. One was 451 pages. I read a book about Bunny Mellon. What a story. That lady, her lifestyle, her annual lifestyle cost her $20 million. It cost her $20 million a year. You heard that right. It cost her $20 million to live. She had planes and she had chauffeurs and she had, all these people. But anyway, her husband, Paul Mellon, her second husband, mentioned this book, The Greek Way. Maria, if you're out there, Maria Cipriano, one of our sponsors, and we've got Tony from THB. We love our sponsors. I started that thought and I didn't complete it. And we're talking about The Greek Way. The woman who wrote The Greek Way, her name is Edith Hamilton. Edith Hamilton is at her best describing the tragic sensibility, the strange mixture of doom and exaltation that marks Greek drama. Listen to this. It was based on the conviction, Don, I'm setting you up well for our next segment on your book. It was based on the conviction that good grows out of bad, virtue out of hardship, and that wisdom is born in suffering.
Absolutely.
And so I think you're going to talk about a lot of that, and I'm excited. The other thing, for those of you who know me, Ben Sass for president, this young 46-year-old senator from Nebraska. Anita's going to cut me off. I know she is. Love this guy. He's a history professor, a PhD in American history, and he brings an interesting perspective to Washington. What he talks about, and I'm going to read this to you. We are in a period of unprecedented upheaval. Community is collapsing. Anxiety is building, and we're distracting ourselves with, folks, listen to this. All of you are out there, the political vitriol, which I despise, and I don't play in that sandbox, and we're distracting ourselves with artificial political hatreds. Artificial political hatreds. That can endure, and if it does, America won't. So, folks, wake up. Wake up to... We are so less connected, and Senator Sass talks about rootedness. We're less rooted than we are. We're less connected than we've ever been. And so, Don, when this kind of stuff happens, Carol, what we do is we want to be in somebody's camp, whether it's the love camp or the hate camp or the anger camp. We just want to be in a camp. We want to belong to something because we feel disconnected and disfranchised. And even if that is vitriolic and ugly, and I'm not going to mention any names, but I see a lot of this stuff. We're all on social media. We're on Facebook and we're on LinkedIn. It's ugly, and I just don't play in that sandbox. And why do we do that? And folks, you're not going to change that dynamic. I really, absolutely, and thanks for waiting. You're not going to change that dynamic. You're really not going to. So if it makes you feel better to bitch and moan, knock your socks off, but I'm not going to do that. I think we can come together collectively, and we can affect change in a different way, and I'd like to talk about that. I want you to give us a call. If there are other things you want to talk about, we're going to dive into Don's book when we come back from this commercial break. Give us a call. You're listening to the Bob Paff Show on Facebook Live at WCBM 680. Give us a call at 410-922-6680 or 1-800-922-6680. You're listening to the Bob Paff Show. We'll be right back.
Mr. Paff, Edith Hamilton?
Yeah.
She was the headmistress of Bryn Mawr. We have entire sections of our library.
Are you kidding me?
Entire school. It's all dedicated to her.
Really?
Our tech band is named Edith Jamilton. Like, her whole life is at Bryn Mawr. All of her collections, she collected.
I wonder if it's the same one. Now, wait a minute. So
It is.
Really?
I promise you it is.
Well, this woman was born in 1867 and died in 1963.
Yep.
It's the same woman?
Yep.
You guys, can we get on water?
I didn't even bring my waters in. There's a water. Can you grab, Donna?
That'd be great.
Yeah. I normally bring my Evian.
You do a great job,
Me too, if there's an extra inside.
Don, I stop at Eddie's, but it's Carol's fault. I had to pick Carol up at the train station. I couldn't stop at Eddie's. I usually buy a 6-pack of Evian.
No problem.
I just don't want you carrying it.
What's your favorite water out there, folks? I'm just like, my kids tease me because I drink Evian. And they're like, Dad, you and that French accent. But it's like, Evian. Evian. Here we go. All right. We're back. Hey, folks, you are listening to the Bob Paff Show here on WCBM. We come to you live every Friday night from 6 to 7. This is a variety show. We don't really talk about politics because you get enough of that. I think you do. I get enough of that.
I do.
And I don't really want, it's just kind of everybody's spin on it. And God bless them for out there doing it. I don't want to do that. What I want to do is I want to bring you really good content. I want to bring in small business owners. I want to bring in people like Don and Carol. I want to salute my sponsors like THB and Tony and Maria, people that are out there every day putting it on the line, people that have picked themselves up from some type of adversity. Don, you and I have had private conversations about these things. So, you know, you can bitch and moan about Donald Trump or Barack Obama or George Bush or Bill Clinton or whatever, and knock your socks off doing that. Really, it's just not the sandbox I want to play in. You know, I want our listeners to hear and to walk away from this show, because we're only on for about 37 or 38 minutes. Not a lot of time. That's why I talk fast. But, you know, I want people at the end of the show to say, I got great feedback about Dr. Dan when he was on here. We did a goal-setting show. I want people to get something that's substantive. So let's dive into your book. So Don's book is called Tragedy's Gift. Like that. Where'd you come up with that title? Tragedy's Gift. Did it come to you like communicating when can be as an inspiration? You're a very religious, spiritual, God-fearing man. Did it come to you like that?
You know, I don't know. I just thought about my own experiences in life and realized I had gone through a pretty significant tragedy. And I realized that all the gifts that lie within to help us move upward and onward, and that's, I guess, it just appeared to me.
It appeared to you. So Don, and listen, what I don't do, because we had Lee McGinnis on here, and Lee is I don't know if you were ever, I guess you're once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic. I don't know. Is that right? You're always in recovery or something. And Lee bared her soul. Lee, if you're out there listening, I'm not saying anything out of school. Thanks, Keith Scott, for tuning in. I'm not saying anything out of school. So I don't want to steal your thunder, but dial it back a little bit. You and I are Baltimore boys. Did you pick up that accent, folks? We're Baltimore boys. Don and I are from the South Baltimore area. My family's all from Locust Point. Don's down there. And, of course, everybody knows it now as Federal Hill because it's way more expensive when it's Federal Hill, Don.
Yes, it is.
South Baltimore, where Al Kaline went to Old Southern High School, right? I'm really dating myself with Al Kaline. He's in the Hall of Fame. He played for the Detroit Tigers, but he's a Baltimore guy. So Take us back, Don. Where did it all start for you, and how did it start? And let's get down memory lane a little bit. Tell our listeners where you're from and how it all got started for Don Lawrence.
Well, I'm actually from everywhere, it seems.
You're from everywhere.
Yeah, my dad was a minister, and he traveled a lot. Seemed like every time we would move someplace, a few months, 6 months, 8 months later, my dad would feel the need to go someplace else. And we moved a lot. I was in South Baltimore. I say on Belt Street.
Were you born in Baltimore?
I was born in Baltimore in Charles Street Hospital. And,
Oh, jeez.
yeah, that's how long ago it was. So I think you and I are both the same
I
age.
thought you were 29.
Yeah,
You're not
felt like
29.
but I just, I grew up in the city. I grew up here in South Baltimore, moved around a lot, and I came back when I was about 16 years old, moved in with my Uncle Bob, and stayed there for a while. And at that time, my girlfriend lived on Battery Avenue, and she's now my wife of almost 39 years. We celebrate 39 years.
Which is incredible. How long have you and Darlene, do the math, how long have you two known each other then? What is that?
Probably 45 years.
45
I met her in
years.
church.
Wow. Wow.
She was a piano player. I was a guitar player. And so we just became friends, and then eventually we got married, got two wonderful kids, and Jessica and Tim. And so what happened with me when I was a kid in school, I had a very difficult time reading. And it wasn't because I was dyslexic or anything like that. It was just that we moved so much, I couldn't get rooted into a particular
program.
school.
Yeah.
So I was always moving. So I really had a hard time reading. And when I was about 19, I came across a book called The Magic of Thinking Big. And that book, I don't know what inspired me to try to read it, but I did. It was the first book I ever read from cover to cover, and I actually understood it because what I realized that I was really attracted to the subject matter of people who go from rags to riches. How does someone get themselves out of despair and become somebody rich? And it doesn't have to be rich in money. It's rich in potential and so on.
It's like the definition of success is different for everybody.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, and I read that in your book, as a matter of fact. And so I read that book, and on one of the pages, it had that on one side of the page, the gentleman would describe how a negative thinker thinks. On the other side of the page, how the guy who thinks positive. And I decided at that moment, when reading that book, that I would always be on the right side of that page.
And you were how old when you realized this?
18 or 19.
18 or 19.
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
So I started reading those types of books, and then it was like The Magic of Thinking Big. It was the Think and Grow Rich, and all the
all the classics, all the classics.
And I always just felt a need, and I've always had a message inside of me that I wanted to get out. And then Of course, we only have a minute left or so. So when we come back, I might do.
Yeah, let's come. Yeah. Thank you. We're going to pick it back up. I'm gonna take it back to you right there, folks. You're reaching out and somebody's saying Don needs a mic. Somebody just said that. If you're tuning into me on Facebook Live, Don doesn't have a mic. Carol doesn't have a mic. You got to download on the app and you get a mic. Well, folks on Facebook Live are saying they can't hear you, and of course they can't hear you. It's my Facebook Live, so that's the reason there. We're going to be right back. You're listening to the Bob Paff Show. Give us a call if you got a question for me or for Don or for Carol. We're talking about Don's book, Tragedy's Gift, but give us a call at 410-922-6680. You're listening to the Bob Paff Show on WCBM. We'll be right back.
I'm sorry, they didn't have water bottles.
That's perfect.
This
Wet the
is,
whistle.
thank you.
Sorry.
Joan, are you kidding?
It's a low budget operation.
What's that?
It's a low budget operation. Tony, there's that CHB commercial. Charles Village. Love that Charles Village store. Have you guys been to that CHB Charles Village store on St. Paul Street? It's 2 levels.
That's our
My daughter and I had we had breakfast there last weekend. Love THB. Mariana, yeah, download that app. Elizabeth, I'll get you in here. You got to down, folks. If you're listening to me on Facebook Live, you cannot hear. I got to work on this. Apparently, it's an apparatus that we can do it, and I got to plug things in. But if people are, you can Facebook Live yours, and then your people will see you. But if you're tuning in to my Facebook Live, you can't hear Don and you can't hear Carol. You need the app, or go to the website wcbm.com, and you can find it that way.
You have to tell me I do that next time. That'd be cool.
I could hear other people talking. And you just have to turn it up. Put the volume up.
Hey, Bob.
Oh my God!
Check out the perm hair.
Whoa! Oh yeah.
And your PI and me were
But
twins.
you still got that going on, man. That's good for you.
You should put that on your, as your
Oh
script.
my
One of my
goodness.
friends said that to me a little
I
while.
didn't even know what to say. Can I say it again?
Yeah. My wife and my boy, he's now 37.
That's-
I'm just gonna get bigger.
Check out that porn star mustache.
I really don't know what to say.
We're going to dive right back into Don's book. You don't want to miss it, so we'll be coming back with you in just a little bit. Don, the book is not out yet. Is that right?
No, it's in the process. We're in the final.
So we're going to
stage of
have you
editing.
talk about how
Yeah.
people can get the book. We'll have plenty of time to plug that, where they can find you, where they can find the book, and all those things as well.
Sounds great.
I'm going to read something from your book, and then we'll go right back to you. So we'll pick it up from wherever you want to pick it up from. But
So we talk about how the book came to be. And
Yeah.
why.
yeah,
That's good.
Don, do you have time to grab a bite to eat, or you got to get out of here?
Yeah. Okay.
You got time? Okay.
I told Donnie.
Have you been to Cipriana?
No.
I thought we'd go to Cipriana really quick, right? Does that work?
Good to me.
Carol, can,
If it's food, I'm
I don't think
What?
she's in the zone.
I am. I'm totally in the
I
zone.
get like that.
Now's the time to say whatever you want.
No, I can. I'm like, I got up at 5 o'clock.
Yeah, that's right.
I've
Don't
had a
say,
lot of
Don't
coffee.
say tired.
No, I can't.
Folks, the easiest thing to really do, and I love you tuning in on Facebook Live because I can see you and you can comment on my glasses and my outfit, which is, I appreciate Joe Brooker doing that. But really, download the app. Download, Mary Ellen, download the app, because then that way you can hear Don, you can hear Carol.
What did I miss? I was taking a nap.
All right, folks, coming back to you. Here we go.
I love that song.
Love the music.
Hey, folks, you're back live with Bob Paff, and in the studio tonight is my good friend Don Lawrence, my good friend Carol Dye. We're talking about Don's book, and we're going to go right back to Don, but I want to read you something out of this. One of the things I like to do. Those who know me know that one of the favorite things I do out of all, I play a congressman in House of Cards. Many of you have probably seen that, and I've had the privilege of acting and modeling all over the world. My most exciting job is in Venice doing some stuff, but I love the voiceover work. I really just love, and so I did some narration work for National Geographic, for those who don't know. So I enjoy reading these stories. And let me read something from Don's book. This book will change your life for the better if you will allow it to do so. Love that. I promise that after reading these words of wisdom, you cannot and will not be the same person. So Don makes a bold statement there. You got to get the book. Your thought patterns will never be the same again. Your thoughts will change. And as a result, your life will change. For the first time in a long time, you will begin to move in a positive direction toward your future despite the difficulty that you are facing. Now listen to this. Tragedy's gift. You will be stronger in your resolve to get well. You will find a new sense of purpose. Your thoughts about your situation will improve. And folks, we're all dealing with shit, you know? I mean, we're all dealing with, I think I can say that. I think we clarified that. We're dealing with stuff. All right? I can't. Anita said I can't say that. We're dealing with stuff. All right. You will become more focused on the things that really matter. You will find new ways of coping with the hand that you've been dealt. We've all been dealt a hand, and there's a lot of woe is me. I get caught up in that stuff. You look at somebody else, it's like their life's better than mine. They have more than I do. They're happier than I am. Folks, have you had those thoughts, right? You've been there and done that. Okay. And you will have a new appreciation for the gifts that lie before you. So that, Don, with you, I'm gonna turn it back over to you. So was it a dark period in your life? Can you point to something or some things to help our listeners that really, and way before the story, because the book hasn't even come out yet, but what was the turning point for you, Tom? What were those dark days, if you can share it with our folks?
Well, it started out when I was 28 years old. I came home and saw some symptoms of some issues I was having with going to the bathroom.
Okay.
And so I knew something wasn't right. I went to the doctor. Long story short, I was diagnosed with having ulcerative colitis. And I had that for about 4 years, and I ended up having a flare-up, and it put me in the hospital. And 30 days later, I would walk out of the hospital having my entire large intestine, my entire colon was removed.
Oh, my God, Don, you were 28 years old?
I was 28 years old. And back then, it wasn't like it is today. They didn't have arthroscopic surgery.
Right.
They
opened you up.
And so they put a bag on my side, and I've had it for nearly 26 years. And I remember when I first had the surgery, and I needed to change the bag, and I hit the button for the nurse. She came in and said, "Hey, lay back there, Mr. Lawrence. I'll take care of that for you." And I said, "No, I have to ride this horse the rest of my life. You better saddle me up." So
Wow.
I decided at that moment I was going to live with this and not die with it, because a lot of people will get so depressed. I mean, I was into bodybuilding. I owned 2 health clubs. I was in the best shape of my life. I was in a single-digit body. The BMI was like 6.9% body fat. I was in really great shape, 183 pounds, looked like a picture of health.
Wow.
When I walked out of the hospital, I was 44 pounds lighter.
44 pounds.
44 pounds, barely able to lift 100 pounds on the bench press. And so I just started getting my life back a little more at a time. And from all the years that I've been reading these books from that first book, and just developed the mental capacity to handle certain things. And I realized that my wife would often say to me, "But you're different. You can handle anything." And I thought, well, what is it that makes me different? And I started looking into successful people like yourself, and started associating with people that are moving and shaking and going places. And I found that they think a little differently, they move a little differently, they walk with a certain brisk in their step. And I wanted to know what that thing was. And I realized it boiled down to one thing, and it's how they think about their situation.
Wow. So it's the whole, but that's, Don, that's incredibly inspirational. We're running out of time in this segment. We're going to come back. We're going to pick it up. But 28 years old, I mean, going through that had to be devastating to you. And you wouldn't be normal if it wasn't.
Yes.
Because as you said, the BMI and everything else going on and the fitness clubs and all this, life's great, and then boom. And I'd like to talk to you about why you think boom. Like, why do you think this is the hand that you were dealt on? You're playing this hand, and it's a lot in this book here. We want to talk about that. Folks, I'm here in the studio with Don Lawrence and Carol Dye, and we're talking about Don's book, Tragedy's Gift. You're going to want to get this. I just read an excerpt from Don's book, and I want to get this. I can't wait. Give us a call, 410-922-6680. You're listening to the Bob Paff Show live. Coming at you live on Friday night here in Baltimore on WCBM. We'll be right back. we'll have a couple of longer segments, but this is all broken up, and then we take the feed from the network and all this kind of stuff like that. I want to make sure there too that when I'll throw it to you when we're coming up on the on the back a half hour. What do you want people to know? So I'll do a little bit of that. What do you want people to know? And if they take away one or two things, what would it be? Where can they get you? We'll do all that kind of stuff as well. Do you want me to encourage people to find you on social media? I mean,
yeah, they can.
right? They can find you, and then you can, right?
Don Lawrence Jr. And,
Okay.
and Don Lawrence.
Yeah.
On Facebook.
Okay. Facebook and LinkedIn are your
I'm
time. Two.
on LinkedIn as well.
Yep.
I'm learning that stuff. As
Sure,
you know,
yeah.
I think the first time you saw it was like, Don, we got to do something. I think there's 130 people in there. And so I started-
Was that the LinkedIn thing? I'm always like, because I go there and it's like 130 people. He's like here once a year.
You may want to bring up how you met, how Dawn came to your class. 'cause
Thank you, Mary. Oh my God, let's talk about how we met. Mary O'Rourke, I love you, rock star.
Listening to Dawn talk, I mean, there's no mistake here.
That's part of it. I mean, let's talk about how we met,
Yeah,
right?
I
I think
think
it was
it's
first on
really
social media, then you came to my.
Yeah.
Thank you, Carol, for reminding me of that. We'll
it's
talk
just-
about
it's
it was.
important. Just listening to Dawn's story, that's,
So my talk was on communication strategies. That was the Betamore
Yeah.
thing, right?
Exactly.
it was the one I didn't come to. I came to the one before.
That's a great lead in. I'm gonna talk about that.
I think
I'm gonna let you do a lot of it. I'm gonna throw it back to you because it's a lot of story to tell, and I can't tell it. You got to tell it. I can feed you. Thank you, Mary.
But, and then, now you've helped me with my Poppleton house. It's like so connected.
That is pretty cool.
It's really beautiful.
Folks, give us a call, 410-922-6680 or 1-800-922-6680. Again, we want to thank our sponsor. If you're in the Baltimore area, you can, right after the show, Don, Carol, and I are headed to Cipriana. So if you're out there and you're listening and you're watching, you can catch us at Cipriana, which everybody I take to Cipriana just raves about. You're gonna love it. The food is so good and so fresh. And
See, I'm working all he says is
my ex-in-laws will be in town, and he loves grilled octopus, and Maria makes an amazing grilled octopus. So I'm not a big grilled
I think that's
delicious.
called a real octopus.
Octopus.
It
octopus.
doesn't.
Do you like Mediterranean food?
I know, I'm not a big.
Like grape leaves and
blindfolded.
so
Not a
good.
seafood person.
Mindy Sue Bush is watching. Do you know Mindy Sue?
Do you like any seafood?
Mindy Sue, where are you watching from? Mary, I know Mary O'Rourke is in New York. Mary's in the city.
That's called and snails.
She can't eat seafood.
Oh, you can't?
She's allergic.
Oh, that's right. That's
I
right.
have like all sorts of.
That's right. You were telling me that. And by the way, we got to reschedule our lunch.
Yeah, lunch.
Now that's a
Okay.
tragedy.
How did you discover it? Did you get sick?
Folks, go to Amazon. Don and I, my book as well. You can go to Amazon and you can Communicating to Win. I voice over the book, so it's on Audible. A lot of folks like to. I don't know if you've done.
I wanted to talk to you.
All right. Yep, absolutely. And so you can download it. You can get it on Audible. You can get it on Kindle. You can get it. You can get the hard copy. Mindy Sue, Owings Mills, Maryland. Owings Mills, Maryland.
I can, but it like makes me sick.
So what do you eat? Pizza?
No, not pizza. No. I eat like
The vegetarian?
rice. I eat meat. Meat's fine.
Okay.
Elizabeth, why don't you do me a favor? Do you have a piece of paper or anything over there?
No, but I have my computer.
So what I want you to do is I want you to jot down who our guest is next week, so I can tease that show. Do you have a pen or pencil over there?
No.
Do you have a pen? There we go.
Jennifer Stein is her name.
All right, so just give me the specifics on her,
Okay, as far as this.
so I can tease that show.
Oh, sorry.
It's all right. I'm good.
I've got so many pens. But Elizabeth doesn't use pen and paper.
I use this.
Maybe.
Maybe, yeah. Math class.
Folks, we're coming up on our last few minutes. Just lights in here. It's like it's hot. I need my Owen O'Donnell makeup on to like tone down the. It gets hot. It gets hot in here, and we're all bundled up here. I don't like to be hot. Pick your battles. Don't sweat the small stuff. bargain with life for a penny. Life for a penny. Hey, Bill Jensen. Bill, remind us where you are. You're out there in someplace really cold, as I recall. Hey, Jordan. Jennifer Stein, the head of CASA.
Yeah, the CASA high school clubs. That's like her job over there. To help get high school students in and interaction with the organization.
Elizabeth, the other thing we could do too is we could let you. Well, I'll chat about it, and then I'll pull you in, and you can maybe talk about the organization. You know a little bit about them, so I'll flow to you. Good.
A little bit.
Little bit. Chicago's tuning in. We got Chicago tuning in.
Do you get
See
the
that?
community service?
All right, here we go.
I don't do it for
Hey,
the
Bill, thank you. Chicago. Here we go, folks. Right?
Nice bass line.
Anita gets it.
Hey, folks, you're listening live to Bob Paff. We are talking to Don Lawrence. His book is Tragedy's Gift. Don, I want to let our listeners know that you and I do have a personal connection, a personal relationship. A lot of times we have a lot of folks that we know out there on social media, and I liked it when I travel. I like to meet a lot of these people that we only know virtually, but you and I have a real relationship. I did a talk probably a couple years ago now at Betamore, 2 years ago. It's a think tank down in Federal Hill or South Baltimore, and it was on communication strategies because communication is my brand. And Don came to my talk. And you live in Pennsylvania?
I live right in Freeland, Maryland, which is just on the
So my point being that you drove. That was a long drive for you to come.
40
That's
45
yeah.
minutes.
So Don came down because I think it was an early morning thing, and that was really the first face-to-face meeting that I had with Don, and we've been dear friends ever since. And I've connected Don to Carol because Carol's acquired some properties here. She's interested in seeing Baltimore turn around, and so Don and Carol now working together. Folks, I like to connect people. I don't like the word networking. I've never liked the word networking. I like connecting people. I like being a connector. I like putting good people together, and you find good people. And I know it's in my book, and you've seen it, who's on your team. But so it's really it's that whole village mentality, and you and I talked about that before, Don. We can't do it alone. But let's dive back into the book. So Tragedy's Gift is the book here, and Don's going to tell us where we can get the book and him and all that kind of stuff in just a little bit. But I want to pick it up, and I want to pick it up from where you want us to pick it up. I want our listeners to hear you talking about. So we got you at 28 years old. You had ulcerative colitis. You had surgery. You've got a colostomy bag at that point, right?
Yes.
And you refused, if I can speak for you, you refused to let that hold you back and bring you down,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely. And I think and it's interesting enough we're talking about the book because I dedicate my book to books because the reading of them has made me a very different person. And I believe that I would not have recovered as quickly as I did had it not been for the reading of good books, listening to good mentors and people that I've learned how to be a positive thinker and how to move from tragedy to the gifts that lie within. Because there's gifts all around us. And I talk
Right.
about the gift of timing. Had this happened to me many years ago, I would have probably died in a matter of days. Had it not been for the gift of the surgeons, the gift of the caretakers, and the gift of courage in the fire, the gift of eternal life, all the things that we get as gifts in our lives, we can think about that way, or we can just regress to a small corner in your home and just not want to go out. Because I know a lot of people that have had this surgery have told me that they lost a loved one because they just willed themselves to an early grave. And I realized that
Wow.
life is too short and it's too great. Not
The power of
to,
thinking, whether it's positive or
Yes.
negative, you can get caught up in all that,
Absolutely.
right, Don?
It manifests itself in the physical.
But you know what, my friend, in fairness to you, I don't want to embarrass you, and you're listening to him, you're not seeing him, so if I embarrass him and he turns red, you can't see it. But you're a special guy, because I got to tell you, at 28, Don, I got married the first time a couple months before my 24th birthday. My first son was born, first child at 25, my second at 26. And so life started for me very quickly. My dad left when I was 10 years old, and so kind of raised myself and was out of the house. I was in foster care at the time. I was 16. You're a special guy, because I did not have. I didn't have these thoughts that you had. I mean, and maybe if something had hit me at that point. Don, can you trace that? Can you help our listeners out? Can you trace that to something? Was it the church? Was it Aunt Betsy? Have you always been like that, Don? Because you sound a little bit, not weird, but weird in that you're a special guy, Don. I don't want to embarrass you, but it's special. I don't think it's the norm.
Well, I think when you grow up hard, you go through challenges, and you develop a fight mentality.
Okay.
That you're going to survive. And then, of course, certainly my faith. I am a Christian man. My dad was a Pentecostal minister. I was raised.
So you did grow up in that. That's right. Your father was a minister.
Yeah, my dad was a minister. I was a son of a preacher man.
So yeah.
All the things.
Don sings too. I mean, we come back next week and he'll sing "Son of a Preacher." I need to put you on the spot here.
And it's funny, also like with the book, I mean, after having that surgery, I decided, I literally asked my wife to bring my guitar to the hospital.
So you were married. You and Darlene are married at this point. How long had you been married?
We have been married. We got married when we were 19.
19.
Yeah, 3 weeks later.
God, I thought 23 years old. 19, and you're still together.
Since we were kids. Yeah, 39 years this May.
Hey, Darlene.
And,
Go ahead.
But what happened was, I asked the doctor. I said, "Look, can I pick where that thing is going to come out of my body? It's called a stoma, and it would literally put your intestines to the outside of your stomach." And he said, "Well, sure you can." So I had my wife bring my guitar to the hospital. I took a black Sharpie and I marked where I wanted it. And the reason I did that, because I stand now in church. I play in a worship band. And when I stand with my guitar, it lies against the center of my stomach, and I didn't want it to be in the way and cause
Oh, wow.
So I always say in my book, I say, look, so choose the Sharpie and move on.
Choose the Sharpie, move on.
Move on. It's like, this is life as we know it. Life as we knew it is now done. Let's move on and just make the best of what we got and find the gifts that help us move upward and onward.
All right, but come on, guy. Listen, you had to be dragging yourself around for a little bit. You didn't do any "woe is me" or "why me" or what do I do now? Because colitis. Because I have friends, it can lead to cancer. I mean, colitis can kill you.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
So you had to have a "woe me" moment. Come on, Don.
I had the woe me moment in the hospital. Prior to that, I never realized how sick I was, because remember, I was been training my brain.
That's right. You were the picture of health.
I was the mind gym. I was always involved. I mean, I didn't know how sick I was because I was thinking so positive about life. And I remember saying to my wife, when it come to the point, I always say, big boys don't cry, and I was sitting there and I said to her, how are we going to get through this? And I tell you what, I bawled like a baby. I couldn't
Did you?
believe it was actually happening. So I did.
Okay,
get
good. This is what I want.
I got
You
really,
bawled like a
really
baby.
down
You
to
did,
the
folks.
lowest. And I basically, I began to really say, I was in so much pain, I didn't even care if I died. I was in so much pain with it. I'd rather be dead not to have the pain. But then I started thinking about, again, all the things that I had to live for. My 2 children who gave me the reason to live with an ostomy rather than...
So you and Darlene had kids at this point.
Yeah, we have 2 children.
Yeah, you had the kids when you were in the hospital having the surgery. You had little kids.
Yeah, I had little kids.
Okay.
And so I thought about them, and I thought about her trying to raise 2 kids without a husband to help her, and just started looking at the things that mattered, and I realized that I was not the most important thing in the room.
Could you have gotten there if you had not grown up? Your father was a minister, so you'd let me use this phrase. You'd grown up around God. God was always at the kitchen table, the dining room table. It was always part of your life.
Yes.
Did that have an influence on who you were and the decisions you made and being able to pick yourself back up?
It most definitely did. I mean, it's like when you look at where you are. I've always said that when I am most centered on God is when I'm in the most happy place in my life.
Okay.
I'm most centered on that. And I think that, obviously, it had a huge bearing on how I would recover and how I would get back on my feet, because you lean on God, because we're all going to go back to that place.
That's right.
So I was very fortunate to have had that upbringing in church and faith. I've seen healings. I've seen God do things that most people would poo-poo as ridiculous. But I've seen things and miracles in my life, in my own life. And it most definitely had
I want to talk about that when we come back, because, again, we're running out of time. When we could talk, we'll have you back on the show. I want to talk about the faith piece, because I think people have lost faith. And I think it's, in large part, a lot of what's wrong with the country. We talked about being disconnected and all that kind of stuff, but we're going to run out of time on this segment. Folks, give us a call and talk to Don Lawrence. And Carol, I'm going to pull you in here at some point, I promise you. But give us a call at 410-922-6680. You're listening to The Bob Paff Show live on WCBM 680. Give us a call. We'll be right back. Thanks.
I mean, there are no mistakes with this being brought
The
together.
problem, though, too, with the show is I got 37 minutes, and if you get, I mean, I've done the show by myself, which I certainly not a lot. People, first of all, people think I'm on every night of the week, which is nice. I had a guy call in last week. He said, "Oh my God, I love this show. Like, how long you been
They're
on?"
searching for him for 6
Um,
days.
You're a
They-
natural
they-
for this, man.
Where
Thank
is
you.
it? Where is it?
Wait, did I miss
They
it?
think I'm on every day, and then they think I'm on for 2 hours, and I'm on for 37 minutes.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
because
they'll start crying for more. You know, and that's how it's going to go. Somebody's going to hear you, and then somebody's going to offer you another station, and the next thing you know,
Thank you for saying that, Don,
It's going to
because
start
it's true.
exploding. It's just, you know,
That's
I don't think
exactly
anybody's
right.
doing what we're doing, right? I mean,
it's a really great.
thank you,
platform.
Shane. I
It's very
appreciate that. You're a
versatile.
life connector as well. Thank you, Shane.
You are. And you know, like you said, God brought you in this place for a reason. You know, you're changing lives, letting people. The messages that you're talking about tonight. You know, people are in despair.
They are.
They really
They are. They are. And I think this is the best way. I get all the time people want me to run for governor. They want me to run for mayor. I know you're listening to this on Facebook Live, and no, I'm not doing it. However, if elected, I would. You know, I will serve. I will serve.
Watch it. Watch.
I will
Nice to
serve.
have a
Did I tell you I wrote
$100,000
myself in because I didn't like any of the candidates? What was the election we just had? I wrote myself in. Senate. I wrote myself in. I didn't like any of the senatorial
Bob,
candidates.
coming back to you.
Thank you, Anita.
Thank
What's
you.
going on?
She said, "Get off that box."
We have so much fun here, and I got caught up in a conversation with Don and Carol that Anita came in and said, "Bob, you're back on the air." And so, but that's a good thing, Anita, because we're having fun. We ended up, and we were talking about faith, and my faith has gotten me through the worst times of my life. And some of you, if you've read my book, you know those worst times. My dad cheated on my mom. My first wife cheated on me, and so I've had that. We've had lots of personal struggles with around mental illness and losing everything and being in foster care and you know, all that. So I get it. But I always say that my faith has gotten me through the worst times of my life, and so I want to talk about faith because your dad was a minister.
Yes.
And so you grew up with Jesus at the table,
Yes, we did.
if I can put it that way.
Absolutely can.
And so would you say to our listeners, Don, that your faith has only gotten stronger, has brought you through these things? Talk about that and your thoughts around faith and what it's done for you.
I think most definitely has gotten stronger. I think every time you go through a challenge, you get stronger. It teaches us to be tougher. You know, one of the things in the book I was really challenged with, because of being a preacher's kid, obviously I'm going to be influenced by religion and
Yeah.
the Bible and so on. And I was very guarded. As a matter of fact, the editor came and he was writing some things in Scripture, and I asked him to remove them. And so actually what happened was I didn't want the book to be only sold in Christian bookstores. I also didn't want to
Good.
be a Christian message. in it.
Because that's limiting the message if you're only putting it in one place.
Exactly. So what I did was I had an experience. I went to a wedding in Georgia. It was a long way back, and my sister and my wife were with me. I talked a little bit about this in the book, and we crossed into Carolina, and I saw a Billy Graham library. And my sister was just nuts about it, wanted to stop. I wanted to continue, but we stopped. And I'm so glad we did, because it really was an experience that totally, really changed my life, and it changed my perspective on the book. And I felt like that, you know, that I was being impressed by the Holy Spirit to say,
Yeah.
hey, you need to write this chapter. So I wrote another chapter. The last chapter is called The Gift of Eternal Life. Because if you think about the human experience, what greater tragedy that in the human experience is the death of Christ. And through that death, we were given such an extraordinary gift of eternal life. And I think that chapter is going to make a huge impression on people that really need to know that, you know, if you're leaning on God and that's the center of your life, you're going to find that your life is going to be a whole lot better because of it.
So you think that it sounds like to me, I mean, what you're saying, and what the little I've flipped through in the book. Without that presence in your life, you might not be here. You certainly would have a different outlook. So you really, Don, let's put it on the table. You really think that all of this is really attributed to your faith in God, right?
I do.
Growing up the way that you've grown up. Because without that faith, because, man, you were handed a lot of, and I'm sure there are other things. So the surgery, and we haven't even gotten into other things. And we're going to run out of time talking about, you know, how Don has picked himself back up and how he's had the courage and the faith and the wisdom to do that. But really, it's your faith. It's God. You think without the presence of God in your life,
Absolutely.
and this is not the 700 show or what like you were talking about. What Don was saying is he did not want this book, and thank you for that. Don did not want this book just sold in Christian bookstores because there's Christianity and faith and everything in the message, Don, but it's a life message. What do you want people to take away from this, Don? What should they get? Let's say, oh my God, out there, and it's funny because if I'm 1 minute. It's so funny because I'm a single guy, and if I ever was dated somebody who was an atheist I can't do that. I got to be with people who believe, right? And so when we talk about what you want people to take away, so even for the atheists out there, there's something for everybody in this book, Don.
And most definitely, everybody. You have to look at everybody has gone through, will go through, or personally going through a tragedy right now.
Everybody
has. And when I first started writing the book, it was an idea to help people that have an ostomy and how to deal with it. And I thought, you know what, this is really limiting the readership of this thing because it's only talking to those people who have a bag. But there's people that have lost a limb. There's people who come back from combat or PTSD, and then you have others.
A loss is a loss is a loss.
A loss of a loss. And that's really what it is. Speaks to us finding those gifts. And I speak to about 10 of those gifts within there, but you can find hundreds of gifts around you that you can lean to help you move upward and over in your life.
If you just open your eyes and look for all the things around you. So we're going to come back with Don Lawrence. We're running out of time. We always run out of time. Give us a call, 410-922-6680. You're listening to the Bob Paff Show on WCBM. Friday night. We'll be right back, folks. Good stuff, Don.
All right. Well, it does move fast, doesn't it?
It goes really fast, and we'll come up there typically our last block. Was it 2 weeks ago I did the show? It seemed like Taylor was here with me. Elizabeth, that was the one that you got the dates mixed up.
I'm
No, that's okay.
upset about that.
Taylor's like, do we have more time tonight, Mr. Paff? Because it seemed like a lot of, but in the end, we typically get 5 or 6 minutes. So here, we're going to bring it all together. And I teased that. What do you want people to know and take it away? And who's the audience? Where can they find it?
And the website picture. I have a Tragedies Gift website.
Okay.
Is it developed yet? So I'm just letting them know.
So I want you to know that'll be your thing.
I'll go back and put fish on it. But it doesn't have to be posed. Just so we have something.
Hey, Bill, thank you.
So I can post
Appreciate that, Bill. Bill, I tried to get Long and Foster as a sponsor. That makes sense, but we talk about that offline. But putting it out there, we've got 5 sponsorship spots, and
What do you say?
Carol's a real estate person, and she's in here with us. But we gotta work together to get the word out, get the message out. So I appreciate your support, Bill.
Action.
Yeah. Well, stand behind Bob and get a picture too.
Cipriana Maria, Tony, THB. I'll be at THB over the weekend.
We'll pose. Thank you.
I'm hearing this on the mic. I'm like, is my phone talking?
Folks, if you've got topics that you... Okay, Don, Craig Cohen says, great hearing Don on your show. Can't wait to get a copy of his book.
All right, tell him I said hi.
Craig, Don says, hey, gives you one of those. Don knows I'm not an emoji. You know that yellow thumbs up? It drives me crazy. But
I know you hate emojis.
Going back to hieroglyphics.
Oh, my golly. We're going to let everyone know where you can get Don's book, where you can get more of Don. You know how to get me. Folks, I encourage you, if you hear this and you like the message, share it. People can share it. What we do after this is we save the video, and then so you'll see it because you were tagged into it, and then share it. Put it out there.
Awesome.
By Monday or Tuesday, this will be on our podcast.
Okay.
So you can just go to the WCBN website, and you can take that off of there, and then share that and put it out there.
Thumbs up emoji.
What's that?
Some people just write a whole message in emojis. So annoying. Because I don't even know what half of them
I like
mean.
the fist one.
My grandparents think it's cool, and so they'll send my grandpa.
So we're
thinks it's
reading
cool, and
this
trying to learn how to use
the Greek
emojis.
way.
So I'm like, oh, Grandpa, I got my
I
driver's
finished
license.
3 books this
Like
week.
different
3
car
books this week. I think I
emojis.
told everybody I was reading a book about
I like the
Bunny Mellon.
That's
I finished Senator Sass's book, one of Senator Sass's books, and I finished. What was the other book that I finished?
Lawrence Inner Circle of
Golly, now I'm losing my train of thought. 3 books that I finished.
It's so funny.
Oh, the book on the Duke and Duchess of Windsor, Wallace and Love. I finished that. Are you looking for ways to increase your sales and right?
Yeah.
You listening to this commercial? Tired of doing the same old thing, expecting different results. Who is that guy?
Oh my God. Pretty soon the
I
world will
know.
know. See, I love that.
And Brosco, we're going to get you to call in here one night. I don't know if you're still tuning in, but we're going to get you to call in. We're going to chat with you as well.
That's a great
We
one.
are coming down to our last 5 minutes or so.
Let Bob show you who's on your team.
Here we go. Folks, you're back with the Bob Paff Show live Friday night, January the 18th. We're in the studio here with my friend Don Lawrence and Carol Dye, and I want to talk about the two of you and how you two got together, but I want to keep diving into his book. Carol, we'll get you on here. Like, Don's an inspirational. We do. All right, look at that. Sal. Carol, tell us about your connection. What are your thoughts about Don? You see Don writing this book? Does this make sense? Is this Don?
Yes, I just love that listening
Yeah.
to what Don and how you and Don have brought us all together, and
Don's a special dude, Carol.
Don is a special dude, but the fact that he did all this because of his faith, and how I've gone through things, you've gone through things, but Don is talking about it and helping people through this book to be positive. Because if you're not positive, then there's nothing.
Well, you know, in the time that we've got left, and I want to make sure, let's do it now, Don. Tell us when the book is coming out. How can folks get the book? How can they get? Don and I are connected on, I was busting his chops a little bit ago because when I first discovered Don on LinkedIn, he had about 132 connections. And those of you who know me, if you've got 132 connections, what does it say? You're never on there. You're never on there. 2 minutes. And so we're going to run out of time, but I want to make sure. So Don's beeped that up. We worked together to clean that up, Don. How can folks get you? What do they need to know? We got 2 minutes. We got about 1 minute and 45 seconds, and I'm giving it to you. Okay. How can folks get you? Find them on LinkedIn, find them on Facebook, but how can they get you?
Okay. Facebook, Don Lawrence. You can catch me on Facebook. Don Lawrence Jr. is my professional page. www.tragediesgift.com. Now that is a website.
Tragediesgift.com. For those of you on Facebook Live, tragediesgift.com. You can find Don on Facebook. He's married. He's a handsome guy. Facebook's the #1 dating site. Leave him alone. Leave him alone. Leave him alone. Right? Go ahead.
So the website is being formed right now. I actually released this the other day to say, hey, my book's coming out, and just Facebook, and everybody's blowing up about the book. Everybody wants a copy of the book.
Oh,
now.
yeah.
So there's a lot of interest out there. So we're going to be a few more weeks in the final finishing editing, and then it's going to go to print. So we're hoping to get it out very, very soon. And, of course, we'll be back to talk to you about that. Of course, we'll be announcing it on social media and other sites. So it will be on Amazon and all the...
It will. And plans maybe to do Audible or Kindle. We'll talk about those kind of things any way that I can help.
It's going to go on Kindle as well. So it's
okay.
Really good. So it's a new thing for me. It's something very, very exciting, something I've always wanted to do.
Yeah.
So I hope to come
It's going to change your life. I want you to know what a big deal this is. Only 1 in every 50,000 people writes a book. When I wrote my book, I didn't think it was a big deal. And a friend of mine said, whoa. With Don, you and I are members of elite clubs. Only 1 in every 50,000 people writes a book. It's incredible. All right, folks, we're running out of time, as we always do on Friday night. We didn't even get to talk about our show next week. We've got Jennifer Stein. I'm not even going to be able to talk about her, Elizabeth. So, listen, have a great weekend. Tune in to us next week. We've got another exciting show for you. Let us know what you want to hear. You're listening to The Bob Paff Show, WCBM 680 AM. Have a great weekend, folks. Good night.
Now you can breathe.
Man, Bob, you got this down, brother. He really does, doesn't he, man? Great job.
Hey, everybody, thank you. We'll be at Cipriana if you want to be there. The first 3 drinks are on you. Right? One's not enough. All right, guys, I love you. Bye-bye.
Okay.